Thanks for joining us, Drizzy. You're from Realm 128 and representing The Last Stand, TLS. Thanks again for the time, and I really hope that the viewers would get a lot of information from you with all the experience that you have in the game.
Absolutely, Sarav. I appreciate you taking the time to chat to me. I think it's great, what you're doing, and players get the chance to kind of share their experiences. So I appreciate it.
And I always start with the same question about the time that you have spent in the game. How long have you been playing this game for?
Sure. Some may say too long, my fiance for sure, but I've actually been playing the game for close to 2 years now.
Wow.
It feels like a long time, but I'm pretty happy to say that's been a pretty good 2 years.
Good. And about your realm, so can you just walk us through on what Realm 128 is all about, and then about your alliance and the journey that you personally and your alliance went through?
Sure, absolutely. Well, 128 right now, as it is, we like to consider ourselves one of the powerhouses in the game. We started off as, pretty much how every other small realm starts off, with a group of a lot of alliances, probably 10 to 15 pretty active ones. Now we're all condensed. All the strongest fighters are kind of in The Last Stand, which is actually formulated only about half a year ago. It hasn't been around the longest. But, just to give you a little history about, myself and what I've done in the realm, I started off at an alliance called TBK, which was called the Best Kings. And it was actually the #1 ranked realm in 128 for a while. The realm overall has been in internal battle for a long, long time. Really, it was pretty much, we had a couple of Korean alliances, and it was really them against everyone else. And so for about a year and a half, pretty much the majority of the time we spent in the realm, there was constant internal battle. And, to be frank, I think that really actually elevated our game quite a bit and has made us kind of the team we are today. We're ranked number 19 in Elite War. It's something that we're really proud of. We're undefeated in Realm Invasion. We're undefeated in Void. So I think that, our internal strife, our internal battle really made us who we are today. Just to kind of backtrack a little bit, we started off with about 10 to 15 small alliances. As time went on, as I'm sure you're well aware, some of the smaller alliances merged together. And eventually, we came to about 4 to 5 big alliances in the realm. And there was constant war. But when Void War started, we all kind of got together, we got our heads together, and we decided that, maybe it's time we represent 128 together and see if we can accomplish some great things. So, it's been a great ride since we did it. We formed TLS about 6 months ago, and it's been great ever since.
That's good. That's great. Just on the time that you've spent, 2 years is a lot of time, obviously. So what do you think has changed from the time you started and probably mid somewhere, first year and then now? Do you think it's evolving to a better state, or any changes that you feel that it's good or bad for the game?
Are you talking about changes that the developers are making?
Or even the evolution on how the players treat each other, right? I mean, for example, your big decision on not having that internal war and, getting together to face the enemies from other realms. So all these changes, what do you think is the major change and how it has impacted the realms?
Sure. So just from a purely playing style, I think it's a lot easier nowadays for players to get to, Castle 30 or Castle 34 a lot quicker than what it was like in the past. It took me about 2 years to get to C35, which I am today. But, I see a lot of players in new realms who kind of get from, C1 to C32 in probably 3 or 4 months, which, as a player yourself, that's pretty incredible.
It is.
So, I think that's been a major change in the game. It was a lot more pure back in the day. When I started, you really had to kind of learn, trial by fire. But I think, as realms evolve, as, new realms come about, you get a lot of players who leave some of the older realms, go to the newer realms, share their experiences. And as a result, you're seeing kind of realms grow at a much more rapid pace. Whether or not that's good for the game, I'm not sure. I have my own personal opinion. But, as you said, that's definitely an evolution. As far as the actual development of the game, I've been pretty pleased. with what the developers have done. The introduction of Realm Invasion, the introduction of Void War. I thought Savage Lands was a great addition. So I really think we're trending well. The Elite War live stream I thought was pretty cool. It gives everyone a chance to kind of see, what some of the stronger alliances are doing and give some of the smaller alliances a chance to adopt maybe some of the methods. So I've been pretty pleased. There's some hiccups every now and then. But overall, I think that the game has evolved into positive.
That's brilliant, yeah. And about your alliance and Void Wars, so how many Void Wars have you guys been to and how many you've won? And any interesting stories with Void Wars that you have encountered?
Sure. Yeah. So we just completed our 4th Void War this past weekend. We're 4-0. And, the thing about Void War is when it comes to your realm, it's totally mysterious. You don't really know how to approach it. You don't know if you should port first, if you should just wait and defend. It's exciting times. And for us, we won our first one by a slim margin. But as we've learned more from each experience, this last Void War, we almost hit 7 billion points, which was
wow,
a record high. And just an experience I would share myself personally. I had a kind of an alternative account that I had. It was C31. In my very first Void War, I was super excited. As soon as the clock hit 0, I ported over to the enemy realm 96. And, it was like a dream come true. We had been at peace for a while. I couldn't wait to start just emptying some farms. Probably within the span of 2 minutes, I got speed attacked. Wow. And I lost about half my troops right then and there. So it was a good lesson learned. But it's kind of a testament to how active and how aggressive Void War can be.
Yep.
And so, my alliance, we've developed some strategies as to how to approach Void War as we've kind of honed our effort. Our 3rd Void War was against, I believe, 137. And they have a realm there, HXG, which is a primarily Chinese realm. They're ranked top 10 in Elite War at the time. And, it was very intimidating for us to go against one of the, the highest ranked, 1.4 billion battle power, realm. But when we went there, we knocked off about 300 million of their battle power right off the bat.
Wow.
And I think that gave us a lot of confidence. And, what it really comes down to, and probably the underlying message, the way to succeed in War and Order is to have an active alliance. Activity is the key to everything. BP really at the end of the day doesn't mean nothing.
Agreed.
If you have 5 players with over 30 million BP, it doesn't stand a chance against 15 players with 10 to 20 million BP. It's all about activity, and that's how people really see success in the game. And that's just my opinion.
Agreed. Yeah, that's activity is important, as you said. Yeah, I mean it's the numbers that matters. Battle power, sometimes even if you have a 25 million battle power and you do nothing, that goes waste.
Absolutely.
Good. And about your alliance, what's the battle power, and is this the same alliance that you started from? I mean, you said 6 months before that. Is that a merge from other alliances? You want to talk about that? Some players,
yeah. So right now our alliance is almost at 1.1 billion battle power.
Okay.
We just eclipsed the 1 billion mark. We were very proud of that. We took a little bit of a hit in the most recent Void War, but we gained it back a little bit. So we created The Last Stand, TLS, about 6 months ago. It was a merge between TBK and CHN, China. And really it was just, we had been allies together for a long time. But, we were going against a Korean alliance, GOK, another Korean alliance, ROK, and a separate Western alliance, SOB, Shield or Burn. We were getting pounded pretty well. We were losing players to being zeroed, and we felt like we had the best warriors in TBK and CHN. So it was a natural decision to kind of merge the 2 alliances together. And so the alliance TLS fought those 3 alliances for a very long time. Eventually, SOB, they merged with us. And then, as a counter move, the Korean alliances, GOK and ROK, merged together. At the end of the day, when you fight someone for a year plus, you begin to develop a little bit of respect for them. They're just as hard-nosed as you are. They learn your strategy, they counteract. And so you really see a development in your strategies against one another. And I think eventually you build respect. There's certainly low points. There's certainly a lot of smack talk on World Chat. Some would say that they're dirty moves, flag burning, etc. But the pivotal point came kind of when, the leaders got together and decided, hey, you know what? We've been fighting each other for 2 years. We spent thousands and thousands of gems and dollars on shielding one another, speed attacking one another. Maybe we should see what we can do together as 128. And so when we made that decision, we created kind of a super alliance. And I have to say that I think everyone, especially, when you get the leaders of 7 or 8 alliances joined together, really good things happen. And I think that we're lucky in 128 to see that.
Perfect. And so that brings to a very pivotal point in this game, right? I mean, there's going to be no activity until the Void War, right? So you will be building and rebuilding and doing other things, or, getting our castles up and building troops. Do you think it's going to kill the realm, or will it actually go into, the merge? Do you think this kind of works for you, like where you all, 128 representing everybody together and then going out to Void Wars? If that continues, it'll be good. Or do you still want some other realm to come in and merge?
That's a great question. And, in my opinion, when you're 2 years into a realm, you've got to be serious in the game or you're not serious. And I think when you're 2 years in, you're serious about the game, you've invested time and money into the game, you want to win. And I think that's what made the ultimate decision. Now, in peace, there are pros and cons. The pros obviously is you're saving a lot of gems. You're able to use those speed ups in Void War, in Elite War, etc. But obviously you have to worry. One of the cons is, are my members are going to find the game still exciting?
Yep.
Are they still going to want to log in every day if they don't have to worry about shield? So that's kind of something that we discussed, the leaders amongst each other. We decided, what? We've done this for a long time. It's up to us to keep our members engaged. And so far, we've done a great job with that, establishing some sort of push program to try to push, all castles who aren't C30 at the C30, to C34, keep it engaged during Elite Adventure. We just, we tried EA20 for the first time today. Elite War, put a lot of emphasis on that. And so far, activity's up. But more importantly, we're seeing some of the smaller alliances that really didn't get the chance to grow during wartime begin to grow, begin to get more active, begin to take an active part in realm invasion. So in my opinion, I think in the perfect storm, a realm can be fully active with peace. But the long-term solution, I think that realm mergers has to happen eventually.
Okay.
It just has to happen for the sake of the game. It's the next logical progression. And I think that developers should start thinking about working on it. I've heard some rumors that, some earlier realms, some of the more dead realms have already merged. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I think it would be great to, throw in some fresh competition, because, you got to spice the game up every now and then. And I think that would be a very good move by the developers to do that.
And you run the Alliance? Are you the leader of the Alliance of Hero?
No, I'm not the leader. We have a leadership group. So, we have a great. She's the R5 of the group. Her name is Alicia. Her in-game name is Mrs. She's well respected by everyone. She's a sweetheart. We think that she's the perfect face for TLS. I actually flew down to Australia, 4 or 5 months ago to meet up with her and another deputy who I'd gotten close with. So, that kind of embodies the TLS spirit as we're all very close. We all share, we update each other on our personal lives. We're very involved with one another. But we have a very key core leadership group that's been together for a long time. Recently, we've added, a couple deputies from GOK or ROK when they merged with us.
Yep.
It's been great kind of bringing them into the fold. But we make decisions democratically. So we use line, obviously. We create votes when it's time to make decisions. And that's worked out very well for us. I know some alliances really thrive on having that one authority, that one leader who makes decisions for everyone. But we found that giving everyone a voice or, making decisions together really leads to a lot more participation. If people feel like they have something invested, they're going to spend a lot more time.
Yep.
And I think that's worked out very well for TLS.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think, the Alliance actually gets more activity if you have that engagement even outside the game, right? So through line chats and, you talk about everything, and then it becomes a family.
Yeah,
You
you care
start
about
with
one another.
exactly.
You care about what people are doing. If someone's sick, you care about them. If someone's going to have we've had a couple folks have babies. We care about that stuff. When you spend 2 years with someone, even if it's virtually, you get to know that person a lot. You talk to them every day. So exactly as you said, we're one big family, and we're very proud of that.
Let's talk about your account in the game. So what's your battle power like?
So my battle power is roughly 26 million BP right now.
And your castle level?
My castle level is C35. I was the first one in 128. I'm very proud of that. I'll boast it whenever I can. We have 2 C35s now. We'll hopefully get a couple more over the next couple weeks. But yes, I'm a C35 right now.
Good. Again, on the troops. So since you have unlocked the max troops, so what is your favorite troop type? And also, if there is any particular combination that it works for you, and maybe everybody should try it.
Sure. So my favorite troop type personally is the T10 infantry. I think that's the most important unit in the game, especially if you're in an alliance that's active and takes part. Infantry is the key to success. I've played in a lot of realms. I've heard a lot of people's feedback. Some people feel like infantry is not important. To me, the team that sends the most infantry to the battle is going to win. And from my perspective, the T10 infantry is the strongest attack unit, the strongest attack infantry. It's what our leadership team encourages all our players to train, to send to every attack. And, in my opinion, it's a must-have for any attack. And you must forgive me, but I forgot the second part of your question.
Any troop combination that works really good for you? Yeah.
Yep. So recently, the use of angels is something that I've been very curious about, and something that I've been trying out a lot. From an SOS standpoint, angels are imperative, whether it's T10 or T11. Including those angels in your SOS march is incredible. And the reason why is, angel HP is much higher than infantry HP. So a good account will probably have, I'll say 20,000 T10 angels. You send all 20,000 in your SOS march, and your battle is going to extend by at least 10, 15 seconds, which, if you're an active player in the game, you're going to realize that's an eternity.
Yeah.
And they'll give your backline a lot more time to kind of focus their attacks on the enemy. So I think angels are very important. I think sometimes people downplay. If you watch the Alliance Championship, you'll see that the number one Alliance won. They use angels like crazy. And I think it's really important that people start focusing on that. It wasn't something that I discovered myself. Another player in 128 actually filled me in on it. But I think it's a really important troop from an SOS standpoint, not something that you would want to send on a regular attack or defensive march.
EW, so that's one of the main reasons even the smaller alliance play. So you don't lose your troops, but you have the fun and come back. And any tips that you would like to offer for the smaller teams? Because the smaller team always gets whacked, right? So with all the T11s and T10s.
Sure. So I got a few tips, and the first one, and I don't know how viable this is to some of the other alliances, but what we do at TLS is we get on a line call. So 5 or 6 of the TLS commanders will get on a line call, and we'll direct the battle together. So we'll talk strategy live, and we'll have a designated person who types chat into EW. And honestly, I'm sure we've all been in our fair share of EWs where we just have one signal caller, and we just disagree so strongly with what they're saying, and we're just fuming inside, and we're like, why are you doing this? Like, don't do this. But when you're all on the same page, when you're talking live, it's so much easier to coordinate. And so I think, number one, if you want to be successful in EW, having that sort of live interaction is really important. Now, number two, to me, I think in every one of the 3 maps that's available to EW, there's a choke point. There's a middle ground that you have to hold in order to win. So if you can't overcome them with brute numbers, there's a middle point that you have to hit. And I've noticed that whichever team gets to that middle point first has a higher likelihood of winning. So if you have to spend a couple speed ups at the beginning to get to the middle point, usually it's Castle 7 or Castle 8, do it. Let your members know ahead of time, hey, we're going to try to take the middle ground and then we'll play defense. Force the opponent to go offensive. the advantage is on you. And then lastly, and I'm sure a lot of players know this tactic by now, and a lot of people have seen this in kind of the Elite War stream, but if you attack the tower right in front of the castle, as soon as that battle is over, if you speed into the enemy base in time, they won't have the opportunity to refill their troops.
Agreed, yeah.
So if you guys can afford the speed, go ahead and just speed attack that go ahead and speed attack that base. You know, the odds are very high that you'll succeed if you do it in time.
Yep, that's a really good tip. I kind of like the line calls, because I've seen that people doing their own stuff even when you type.
Totally.
Yeah, so that's definitely a good tip, and I like the last tip as well. So it takes a while, even if there is a little bit of lag. It takes at least a few seconds for us to go hit the button and refill, heal and refill. That's a good tip. So you use that time to just speed and kill them all. Yeah.
Yep.
And any tips to the new players? I believe some of the new players also watch these interviews, but any tips? Yeah.
Regardless if you're a spender or not, I think the key to growth is farms. And, you know, I started off myself with no farms, and I actually didn't start building farms or getting farms until I was, you know, C21 or C22. And let me just say, it took me like half a year to get to C22, which a lot of people are going to laugh about now. But farms are imperative. I mean, for new players, even if, you know, it's not going to cost you any money to create a farm account. You know, it's all it's going to take is some time. Spend some time up front to develop it correctly. Get your 3 marches. You know, do the right things, but build farms. Now, if you're an active player, you know, I think with 5 to 6 farms, you should be able to progress and advance pretty well. If you're an insane person like me, I at one time had 55 farms in motion, and it would take me about 2 hours to empty them out. But, you know, it's really dependent on how much you care about the game, how devoted you are. But, you know, my tip to new guys are, you know, have patience. Spend the time in the game to get to know it before you make your decision whether or not you're going to play. And if you want to grow fast, just use farms. They're free. They're easy to create. It's just going to take a little time for you to maintain it at the beginning, but they're well worth it in the long run.
About the game and the developers, any tips or any enhancements you would like to see in the game that you can register here?
I have 2 main recommendations I would like to make to the developers. Well, actually, you know, one of them, I was very pleased with the latest update where they kind of restricted the amount of times you can hit a castle during a kill event. I think we've all, you know, had, you know, been in realms where there have been 1 or 2 prominent farm killers who kind of steal the fun at a kill event. And, you know, I understand why they do it totally. You know, it's up to people to interpret the rules however they want. You know, some of us spend a lot of gems and a lot of time to earn kills kind of the right way. So I was very pleased when the developers made that decision to kind of, you know, obviously now in a peaceful realm that doesn't help us too much, but I'm glad that overall they made that decision. But number 1 is the lag. So in every Void War, in every realm invasion, lag kills somebody, for sure. There's never a chance, there's never a time where we've had a successful attack without someone not getting screwed by lag. And I understand that, you know, a lot of it is from a network standpoint, and it really depends on that person's, you know, whether or not they're using a strong Wi-Fi, whether or not they're using their data. But at some point, you know, Camel Games has to take ownership for the lag, and they have to do something on their end to help alleviate it as well. You know, I've had some very good friends of mine who have very high castles, who've invested a lot of money into the game, you know, lose about 200,000 troops in one go.
Wow.
Strictly to lag. And, you know, that can be a killer. So, you know, whatever they can do to try to alleviate that, I think would make everyone happy. And then lastly, let's make Void War 3 days long. You know, why shouldn't we? You know, it's a 1-day event today. It's a very good event. I think a lot of people enjoy it. You know, maybe they only do it 1 day because they don't want another realm to destroy a realm and effectively make people quit. But you know what? Kill event is 3 days. Void War should be 3 days. We wait a month for Void War. We should have the opportunity to be able to play it over 72 hours.
Agreed. Yep. Those are good suggestions, definitely. And any shout outs to anybody that you want to give, you know, people who you respect in the game or you played with for long?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I want to give you a shout out, Saurabh. I think what you do is great. I
Thank you.
really appreciate you taking the time to interview me today. I want to give a shout out to all of TLS deputies. Actually to TLS as a whole. It's a great group of people. Never had any issues with them. They care about each other. They love each other. It's why I play the game is almost strictly for the social reason these days. Particularly, I want to give a shout out to my friends Lekal and Alicia, Mrs., who's the leader of the alliance. I grew close with them. When I was still in TBK, I went down to Australia to see them. We all have a very close friendship. But you know what? I'm very close friends to a lot of them. So I just want to give a shout out to all of them for putting the time that they put in the game, for showing the love that they show to other players. I think it's great for 128.
Great. And we almost at the end of the interview. Before we conclude, any final thoughts you have that you want to register?
Final thoughts. You know what? I think War and Order is a great game. I think that the online community is growing. I think the Facebook community page is growing. I encourage all new players, all old players, to go ahead and join that Facebook War and Order community page. I think a lot of cool screenshots are shared on there. I think a lot of good topics are up for discussion. I think it's great. But as far as everything else, I think you covered really all the high points. I love War and Order. I've played it for a long time. I don't see myself quitting anytime soon. So a shout out to Camel Games for putting together such a great game as well.
Thank you. And it's definitely informative for me as well. And I believe it will be for the viewers. And once again, I thank you for your time and wish you good luck to you and as well as for your team for all the Void Wars and Elite Wars in the future.
Thank you, Saurabh. And I hope we bump into each other, maybe not in Void War, but you never know.
Yeah, definitely. If it's Void War, I'll message you first.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, buddy. Thank you.